Okay, Hickory Hound, so what we're going to talk about today is our pyramid of intervention. So we've got our pyramid here, and we know that we have 3 levels, this being Tier 3, Tier 2, and Tier 1. Remember, everything that we do in our classrooms happens at Tier 1. We call this the universal tool, more or less, because everything that happens within that tier happens all with you. Now, what we see happening here at Hickory is that when students are struggling, let's say with reading, for example, we go ahead and we have a lot of resources like our reading specialist, and we call them and we say this person needs an intervention, and we immediately move them up to this top 3 tier. But we kind of miss what's happening in Tier 2. And we know that you guys are our greatest resource. So what we're looking at for next school year is making us more a part of this Tier 2. Now we want to clarify for you what this Tier 3 is. And Tier 3 does not involve special education. That is above our pyramid. That's up here, and that's not our issue in our classroom quite yet. It's not a part of our intervention plans. But what we do need to focus on is what's happening here at the Tier 3. And that Tier 3 is strictly remediation. So when we have our Linda, our Claris, and our Elia pulling kids, they're remediating them for any reading troubles that they are having. We are skipping this whole number 2 part within our classroom, and that's why we're moving to this model of the Focus 45. And what this Focus 45 does is each week it's going to allow each team to have 45 minutes to focus on a grade level essential standard. A grade level. If you teach first grade, it is a first grade essential standard. It is not going back to that they can't read and we're sounding out the ah sound. This is a first grade standard. So this Focus 45 time is going to be spent on a targeted area. A targeted area that your team chooses. And it's going to be at their grade level. But don't you worry, we're not forgetting those kids that need to have that remediation time. There will still be Tier 3 time with our reading coaches available, and they will be coming in and gathering your students at that time. It'll be available to you, but the Focus 45 is something that you will be doing within your PLC based on the common formative assessments that you do. We are going to pick our strongest people in whatever your essential standards are to go ahead and focus on our students that are struggling in that essential standard. So what does this look like for your PLC teams? Well, what you're going to do first is you're going to go ahead and identify what your essential standard is. Once you've done that, you're going to create your CFA. And once you've delivered your CFA, you're going to analyze your data. Based on your analyzation, you're going to determine what groups your kids fall into. Did they master? Did they not master? Do they still need a lot of help? Are they really below basic at this level? And we're going to go ahead and divide you guys up as well. So let's say that there are 6 people on your team. You're going to divide up your students into those various groups. So maybe our 2 are going to be our kiddos that need the most help. We'll go to those 2 teachers. And then these 3 are working with our kiddos that they understand the standard but need just a little bit more time, because we all know that kids learn at different reading levels. And then we have this 1 teacher that is going to really do an extension of the lesson. Now, what we also have is during that time, we could bring in our 3 reading intervention specialists to go ahead and help with those numbers. So that if we do need, 5 teachers with these kiddos because the essential standard is really hard, we have it. So our groups won't be at a normal class size. They're going to be much smaller due to the ability to have not just the 6 members of your team, but to have the 9 members of your team. So for this to occur, what we really need you guys to focus on, what we just spoke about earlier in our presentation, is making sure that that essential standard is clear. It is clear what your expectations are amongst your team are all the same. 2, realize that these groups are fluid. A kiddo might sit with you for only 1 Focus 45, has mastered the concept, it can move to the room next door to you because they've mastered it. And 3, you need to redesign an assessment or go back to the assessment you've already done to show that they've mastered it through the data that you've collected. This is about being flexible for our kids to make sure that they're getting the most essential learning and not skipping that tier 2, which we've done. So remember, your tier 2 or your Focus 45 time is going to be for grade level standards, your grade level essential standards that you draw. Don't worry, your kids that need that remediation or that tier 3 will be receiving it. It is built into the schedule that we are about to show you. They will still be pulled during and for reading time, like we've done in the past. That is still going to be available. But even if they are a below grade level reader, we still need to make sure that we are covering the standards that are at their grade level. We can't ignore those just because they can't read. So making an adjustment to the text, putting it through a Newsela or a RAS Kids so it's at their level is going to be crucial in order to make that tier 2 successful. You guys are awesome. You got this. We're about to show you what our new master schedule draft, keyword draft here, is going to look like.